You want to live a life on fire and on mission. You want to be filled with such conviction and drive that you stop caring about what anyone thinks. You want to face each day alive, authentic, and fully present in every moment. With your wife, with your kids, on the street, at work. You want to bring yourself to the table and to stop bringing the watered-down, nice, what everyone wants version of you. You want that self to be a man who is burning in passion for Jesus, unafraid to bring his kingdom to anyone in your path, no matter what it costs you. You want to love the one in front of you without fear, without needing love back, and without reserve. You want to husband well. You want to father well. You want to shepherd your life well. You want to be a safe pillar for anybody around you. You want to experience God for real, to not just believe, but to know that he's got you and that he'll show up on your behalf, that he'll show up through you. You want to get to the end of your race and say, yep, I gave it everything. Jesus, you know I'm all in. And you want to know just how to get there. Welcome to Man Warrior King. I'm your host, Matt Halleck. Congratulations. You're among the violent taking the kingdom by force. You're among the chosen answering the call to rise above yourself. You're in the forge being stripped down and strengthened, and you will rise stronger, solid, unshakable. You are a man. You're a warrior. You are a king. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Man Warrior King podcast. My name is Matt Halleck. I am your host, and if you are interested, you can find out more about me. You can find more content, articles, awesome life-transforming truths over at www.manwarriorking.com. This is episode 1, and there will be many episodes of life-changing truth that we will be discovering together on this show. But today, we are going to be talking about the gospel. And I know, gentlemen, that doesn't sound very exciting. I get it. You don't have to pretend that it is. This isn't church. It's okay. I get that that doesn't sound exciting. You're probably, if you're out looking around for podcasts, you're probably looking for something more than what you may have been getting already in a church setting or something like that. And I'm not saying that I'm the guru who's going to give you the more, but I am saying that I understand if it sounds depressing or boring or rant. I've heard this before if we talk about the gospel. But bear with me, because I want to share with you the gospel in a way that you may not have ever heard before. And I want to share it with you because all of the things, all of the pain points of your life, where your money is not as much as you want, where your depression is getting a hold of you, where your confidence is rock bottom, where your emotions are out of whack and up one day, down the next, where you just feel like you're not living up to what you should be. Or maybe you're frustrated because you have been after Jesus for a long time and you just feel like your life doesn't add up to what it should in the kingdom. Maybe you feel like no matter how much you pray, no matter how much you read your Bible, no matter how desperately you cry out to God for more, you just don't get more. And maybe, just maybe, he's not really paying that much attention to you. If any of these sound familiar, hang in there, and we're going to get there. But we can't get anywhere meaningful if we're operating on a broken idea of what the gospel is. Because the gospel, if we are going to live a Christian life, then the gospel is what it is supposed to be built on. It's supposed to be the foundation. I was writing an article today about this very subject. And in that article, I raised the question, is it really good news? Because the word gospel, everybody knows this. If you've been in church for any amount of time, the word gospel means good news, right? And so is it really? Because to be honest, it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't. Look at your life, okay? Or let me talk about me. Look at mine. There were many, many years where I was desperately after Jesus and, quite frankly, not really finding him. It really felt like the gospel was actually just one other reason why I should beat myself up, because my life wasn't looking anything like I wanted it to. And then I had this really, really amazing sounding gospel on top of it that also wasn't seeming to help. And so there's one more piece of evidence pointing to the fact that I was a broken and messed up guy, that I just wasn't worth anything, that I just couldn't get my act together. So if you have a message that says that the God of everything came to earth and died for you so that he could live again for you, so that he could give you his spirit to animate you, to propel you forward, to give you power over life, to give you a mission, a purpose, to fill you with his very being, to give you the promises that are throughout the Bible. If you have that message and then your life doesn't add up to it, that's not good news. That's bad news, because it's one other thing that you're missing. So I want to ask you, I want you to be honest with me right now. Is the gospel really good news to you? Because listen, in Luke 2, on the night that Jesus was born, there were shepherds in the field watching their sheep, blah, blah, blah. We know the story. And an angel shows up and appears to them. And in verse 9, it says, "And the glory of the Lord shone around them," the shepherds, "and the shepherds were filled with great fear. And the angel said to them, 'Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy, that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord.'" There you have it. Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy. Good news of great joy. Okay, gentlemen, there's something here for us. Do you have great joy? Or do you have frustration? Do you have pain? Do you have bitterness over the pain? Do you have discouragement? Do you have depression? Great joy can be something quite elusive. So what gives, guys? Why, if this is good news that Jesus came, that of great joy, why do we feel so defeated? Or maybe the rest of life is okay, but this whole gospel and church part of it just feels like drudgery. And why? I wonder if it's because we don't know what the gospel is. I wonder if we've believed something wrong for however long it's been. And that wrong belief has set us up for a lot of struggle that Jesus never intended for us to have. Now, I want to be clear here. When I talk about these things, I'm not saying that your life can be all a bed of roses and perfect and jolly 100% of the time, and that's what Jesus died for you for. I'm not saying that you can go through life without any trials and difficulties and obstacles in your way, because that's actually not true. Jesus promised that in this world we would have trouble. Okay, so there are things that come against us. But we don't have to be defeated by that trouble at any single point in time during that trouble. Defeat is never on the menu for the Christian. And if you have been living in emotional, mental, physical, whatever defeat, spiritual defeat, then I think there might be something wrong, and not with you, but maybe with what you have been believing. And I don't know whose fault it is. I'm not saying that it's any church's fault. I'm not saying that it is the church's fault. I'm not saying that it's your teacher's fault, your parents' fault when you were growing up, anything like that. I'm not blaming anybody here, but I am saying I think there's a problem. And now because you are experiencing it, because I am experiencing it, it is your responsibility and my responsibility to handle it. And so I want to help you. I want to open your mind to at least a possibility and see where it takes you. Because I don't know about you, but I am done with a gospel that is just words. I am done with a message about Jesus that is just words and that doesn't do jack in my actual everyday life. That used to sound good, but it doesn't anymore. Because I need something greater than that. I need whatever I pursue in my life, I need it to be authentic and real. Otherwise, I don't have time for it. So, what is the gospel? First, what is it not? This is what I believe the gospel is not. That you and I are sinners, and we are worthless, and we are broken, and we, without God, have no hope of doing anything worthwhile. And thank Jesus that he was kind enough and gracious enough and benevolent enough to stoop so low as to come and save a worthless, wretched man like me. That is me before Jesus. But gentlemen, much of the church hangs on to that post-Jesus. We have bought into a gospel that finds us in one condition. And then we believe it and we embrace it and we come into the family of Jesus, and the gospel leaves us in the same condition. And the only thing that changes is our end destination after we die. And this is a travesty, and this is getting me pissed off right now, even just talking into a microphone about it, because it has stripped the balls out of us. It's made us believe that it's okay that we get stuck in the toxicity of our minds, in the toxicity of these broken emotions, in the toxicity of believing these things. It's made us think it's okay because it's what God says. But is it really what God says? The gospel does not leave a man unchanged. The gospel rightly believed, rightly embraced, revolutionizes a man's life. Listen to Romans chapter 1. Give me a second while I turn there in my old school paper and leather Bible, not my app where I can instantly search it. Romans chapter 1, verse 16 says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith for faith, as it is written, the righteous shall live by faith." Okay, back again. I am not ashamed of the gospel, the message of Jesus Christ, the good news, because it is the power of God, the dunamis power of God. Do you understand? And you might, because by now everybody teaches this. The word power in the New Testament is dunamis in the Greek, okay? It is where we get the word dynamite. Yes, that means a buttload of power, a ton of power, right? It is the same word that Jesus used when he talked to the disciples and he said, hey, guys, listen, wait for me. Okay, I'm going to leave, but wait for the Spirit, my Spirit, who I'm sending to you, because when he comes, you will receive dunamis from on high. And we saw the readout of that. They healed sick people with miracles. They prayed over like cloths and mailed them to people, and those people got healed. Their shadows would heal people. They kicked out demons. They raised the dead. They were bitten by snakes and not hurt. Okay, this is dunamis power in the context of Acts. And here we have the same exact word being used to describe the gospel. But why, friends, does your life not show dunamis power? Come on, we have to answer this. We can't settle for this unanswered question anymore because we're wasting our time if we're not after this thing for authenticity. This gospel is the dunamis power of God for salvation. Guys, we need to understand that salvation does not mean that once you die, you don't have to go to hell anymore. Thank goodness. This is not what salvation is. The Greek word for salvation, soteria, and I don't have this pulled up in front of me right now, but it means saved, healed, delivered, set free, kept safe and sound. Okay, saved, sure. We'll give that one, we'll allow that to mean our end destiny once we die. Okay, fine. However, healed, sickness, mental sickness, physical sickness, emotional brokenness, healed, delivered. Are you stuck? Are you stuck in pornography? Are you stuck in some addiction? Are you stuck in a mental, emotional cycle? Are you stuck and defeated and unable to get out? The gospel is deliverance. It is the dunamis power to deliver. Set free. Set free. Completely free. Completely, guys. We don't understand complete freedom because we're always living according to what we should or shouldn't be doing and what people will or won't think about us. We live in bondage to the shoulds instead of freedom of what's done already. Guys, this gospel is powerful. One tiny little verse tells us this. And so if you're not experiencing a gospel of power, then I want to help you because, gentlemen, we can't afford to just do lip service to this thing and adhere to it half in and half out because it's only halfway doing what it should. We've got to figure out what has gone wrong. Let me show you what I believe the gospel is. Genesis 1. Back at the beginning. It's fitting because this is the beginning of the podcast. Genesis 1 says this: that God created man in his own image, and then he gave him dominion over the earth, to rule it, to bear his image in the earth, to represent the very person of God in the earth. Luke actually calls Adam the son of God. Now, I don't mean that as like capital Son or capital T in the. Jesus is the Son of God, right? He is the firstborn over all creation. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So yes, Jesus, the Son of God, absolutely. But Luke does say Adam, Son of God. And so in the beginning, gentlemen, we were created as sons. We were created in the family of God. And we were created good. In fact, we were very good. And it might feel really weird to hear me say that we people, humans, men, were created good, because we are so used to hearing that that is heresy. We're so used to hearing that that's not okay, that we are not good, that we are wretched, and Jesus is the only good one. And don't give me any credit. Don't thank me for anything, because I don't have anything good in me. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure that there's nothing good in you? Because I'm wondering if God agrees with that. So we were created as sons. We were created in a family, and there was nothing wrong with us. And then the fall, right? Sin, everything, all of that jazz. And we were broken. And we had to die. If you look in Isaiah, again, I'm flipping there, chapter 60, I believe it gives us a picture of what the earth looked like spiritually leading up until Jesus. Chapter 60, verse 1, it says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." This is a prophecy about Jesus coming. And then verse 2 says, this referring to before that light has started shining, before Jesus arrived, "Behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the peoples. But the Lord will arise upon you, and his glory will be seen upon you." So, the fall happens, and this period of the darkness covering the entire earth could not have been before the fall, because God saw it all as good, right? His image was everywhere to be seen. Things were good and not broken. But then Isaiah 60 tells us that there was a point in time when darkness covered the whole earth and a thick darkness covered the people. So this must have been after the fall, after man messed it up. And there was a stretch of time there where darkness covered the earth until the light rose upon us. And we know that Jesus was that light. John 1 tells us that the Word became flesh and he dwelled among us. And we've seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, as of the only begotten of the Father. It says that in him was life, and that life was the light of men. So Jesus brings the light. But there was this time of thick darkness, because when men and women sinned, we gave over the right that God had given to us to rule over the earth, because he said, "Go, take dominion of this place." And when we sinned, we said, "No, thanks, God." And what happened was that Satan got that authority, because we gave it to him. We followed his lead instead. Therefore, we handed over the things that had been ours, because we pledged our allegiance to him. And so Satan ruled this earth. When Jesus was being tempted in the desert, Satan offers him something. Satan tells him that if he would just bow down and worship, if Jesus would just bow down and worship, then Satan would give him all of the kingdoms of the world. How can he do that? Right? Jesus is God. Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus has all authority. He rules, he reigns, right? We always know, obviously, Jesus is the one in charge. Jesus is the one who owns all of the cattle on 1,000 hills and all of that, right? So then in Luke chapter 4, verse 5, how can it say this? That the devil took him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, and said to him, to you I will give all this authority and their glory. For it has been delivered to me, and I give it to whom I will. For it has been delivered to me, and I give it to whom I will. How can he say that? Jesus didn't argue him. Clearly, Jesus wasn't saying, oh, that's silly. You don't have any authority. He didn't argue that point at all, because Satan did have the authority legally. So he says, all of this has been delivered to me way back in the beginning. I was handed it by the people that God created. So here's the gospel so far. In the beginning, we were created as sons. We were created good, and we were created to rule the earth, to have dominion over it, to represent God's image in the earth, because we carry his image. Then we sinned, and the earth was covered with darkness, and thick darkness covered all the people as well. And then Jesus comes, and Satan even offers him the kingdoms of the world, because those kingdoms were delivered to him. But then Jesus tells us, he says, I am giving you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Because when Jesus came and he died, and he as a man wrestled back authority from Satan, who men had given authority to, he won the right to rule the earth again. And he says, I am not keeping it for my own. I am giving you, church, the keys to the kingdom. He also says, I came to restore that which was lost. He also says that when we believe in him, though death came and reigned through the first Adam, through the second Adam, we have the right to reign in life with him. He calls us a royal, that means kingly, priesthood. Guys, once you are saved, you are ushered back into your original created identity. You are restored. This is a gospel of restoration. You are restored to your original identity as a son of God. John 1 tells us that to whoever believes in Jesus, we are given the right to be children of God. So you get to be called, like Adam, son of God. And you are given a mission to go into all the earth. Romans 8 tells us that all of creation is groaning, waiting for the revelation, for the sons of God to be revealed. Creation knows you are meant to rule. Guys, this is not the territory of some sinner saved by grace. You were a sinner, but that's done. The cross does not point out how bad of a person you are. It points out how much of a mess you were covered in, but how wonderful of a man you are. It points out how much value you have, because Jesus would not have paid an entirely high price for some piece of garbage. No wonder, guys, we can't seem to get anywhere, because this this concept that we are dirty and broken and just so depraved is rampant. If you are going through life trying to make your way in the world, but all the time you're operating on top of this foundation that says you're just a worthless sinner, what kind of recipe is that for any kind of success? Jesus gave us a crazy commission. He said, go preach to everybody. He said, go change the world. He said, go raise the dead, heal the sick. He said, go and save people. But we walk around with a whole heck of a lot of self-esteem problems. Paul says, I consider everything else as dung, is the G-rated version, compared to knowing Jesus. He doesn't say I consider myself that. Gentlemen, I don't have time to go deeper and deeper and deeper into this, but I need you to understand today, right now, that it's possible your gospel narrative that tells you who you are and what Jesus' salvation really means for you, it's possible that that narrative that you've believed and that you hear is off. And I want you to consider that maybe, just maybe, the stuff that I'm telling you right now is true. Because, gentlemen, if it's true, it will change your life. This gospel is good news. And I want to help you understand just how good it is. Jesus, I thank you for these gentlemen and any ladies who are listening. I thank you, Jesus, that you love us. I thank you, Jesus, that we are full of your grace and full of your love, full of your kindness, full of your power, your fire, your grit, your manliness. Except for the ladies. And I thank you. I thank you that your gospel is powerful to change us and that it is good news. And I pray, God, that you would help us to see that. Open our eyes, the eyes of our heart, God, to hear you, to see you, to commune with you, to know you, God. We love you. Until next time, gentlemen, this is Matt Halleck, wrapping up episode 1 of the Man, Warrior, King podcast. Again, you can find more at www.manwarriorking.com. Until then, gentlemen, much love to you. This is Matt Halleck signing off and thanking you again for being a part of the Man, Warrior, King community. If you want more, head over to manwarriorking.com. And please remember to take just a couple seconds to subscribe on iTunes and to leave a 5-star rating and a review so that more and more men can join us as we become awesome. You are a kingdom man. Go out. Take more ground, push back darkness. Remember, you bring value into your home, your work, and your circle. You are not a taker, you are a giver. Abundance is your atmosphere.